Giving Tuesday is a global generosity initiative to encourage support in communities among individuals and organizations. This celebrated day of giving highlights opportunities for raising goodwill and generosity among the holiday season. This year, Emerge Counseling Ministries is participating in Giving Tuesday in an effort to raise awareness and funds for our Fostering Hope Fund, which will provide free counseling to support parents of foster children. Our goal is to raise $25,000 to directly contribute to the care and counseling for 250 foster families. By alleviating mental health expenses for these families, they will receive the practical support they need to continue offering a nurturing environment for foster children and youth. Go to emerge.org/Giving Tuesday to give today.
Welcome to the XM Podcast. Here is your host, mental health therapist, Matthew Kanabe.
I am very hard on myself, dealt with severe anxiety.
And it made me feel like a monster. I didn't have the energy to care.
There was just nothing more but to face what I had been running from.
I'm already an anxiety-filled mess.
It's just love. Like, it just goes back to love.
So have I told you lately that we are so greatly appreciative of you listening to this podcast? I recently have got a lot of unbelievable feedback on how this show has made an impact on so many people's lives, and we at Emerge are grateful. So thank you so much. You know, everybody needs a counselor, a coach, and or a consultant in different phases of life. And that is not me just saying that to plug what we do at Emerge, but our guest today shares his journey through different seasons of life and how important those three roles are. Please welcome to the show COO at Builders International and Pastor Jeremy Godwin.
Hey, Matt. It's so good to see you, buddy.
Dude, I've already had a great time with you, so I'm very excited to see where our podcast goes today. But
Yeah.
How you doing?
Man, absolutely incredible. This convention has been phenomenal. The connections, the relationships. But having this brief moment at this time that we're recording is just kind of a breath of fresh air before the rest of the chaos jumps in.
Well, I wanted to make a mention because we're going to have many other podcasts coming out, and they're probably going to wonder, why is it so quiet? And it's you and I got in the building about an hour before everybody else is going to be in here. So this is going to be a dream for me to edit, and I appreciate it. But really looking forward to our conversation. If you wouldn't mind maybe sharing a little bit about yourself to let our audience know a little bit about who you are.
Oh, that's awesome, Matt. Thanks so much. So, been in ministry now for 25 plus years. 15 years, my wife and I were lead pastors in a couple different states. Great experiences in that. Always knew that at some point we'd step into missions. Thought it would be church planting somewhere overseas, but God really opened up a door through Builders International, based out of Springfield, Missouri, part of AGWM. Stepped into the role of Chief Operations Officer, part of the executive team. Also do a lot of development, still doing a lot of preaching. But, you know, kind of a continuation, if you will, of leadership, building up the church in some aspect is really what we're passionate about. 3 kids, older one, 22, married, got my first daughter-in-law, loving it.
Oh, good.
2 other sons, 18 years old, that are moving out this week. So literally stepping into this new season of empty nesting, looking forward to what the future looks like. So excited to step into that with my beautiful wife of nearly 25 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about Builders International and let them know what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we bring people together to make construction happen is really the best way. In fact, I use the example of Uber. You know, Uber doesn't own cars. They don't need rides. They bring people that own cars to people that need rides. Move the people around the world. We do the same thing. We find and vet projects within our Assembly of God ecosphere. We also find people that want to donate to good, healthy projects. We do a number of events, and we also mobilize teams to go to projects. And when it's all said and done, there's a church or an orphanage or a medical clinic or a Bible school that's built. So as of today, it's always changing. We've got about 47 projects in 34 different countries that we're a part of. And, man, we're so excited to see what God's doing around the world. The church is growing, and we are passionate about seeing places where people can find hope.
That's great.
built.
That's an awesome ministry. I mean, it's such a huge blessing to so many different places. So you and I are talking a little bit just about counseling and your feelings about it. And, there's a lot of different perspectives on it. I think sometimes people look at it with a stigma. But you were very open as soon as we sat down saying, I believe in it. My family believes in it. We're all about it. You have an Emerge connection. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, absolutely. Not knowing who's listening to this podcast, I'm just going to dump it out there.
Let's go.
Take it for what it's worth.
Let's go.
I didn't always feel that way about counseling.
Yeah.
I thought counseling was for messed up people, and I'm not messed up. Even though I've lived through 6 divorces through parents, even though I was on the abortion table to be aborted twice, I came from a messed up background.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Jesus found me early on. I gave my heart to Christ in high school, radically saved, and that made all the difference.
Yeah.
But with so much brokenness in my home, so much brokenness in my family, it really created a lot of baggage, a lot of anger, a lot of processing that I didn't know how to work through. And I got married young. We got married at 19.
Wow.
I thought, and I believe in getting married young, don't get me wrong, but I think it would have been better had I been a little healthier going into it. So I brought a lot of baggage into our relationship. My wife came from a broken family as well. And so you bring those things together, it was a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact we jumped into full-time ministry literally the year we got married. And so, man, we weren't healthy, and I didn't realize it. And so eventually we got to the point, I was at some event, Emerge was there, and I'm like, you know what? They really talked a lot about keeping it hush. There's this privacy, and I'm like, all right, let's see what'll happen. Because there was that stigma of what if people knew?
Yep.
Bro, it changed our marriage, changed my life. And from then on, I have always had a counselor. My wife has a counselor. My 3 sons have all had counselors and are in counseling. And it's because we believe in being healthy as individuals makes us healthy husbands, healthy fathers, healthy leaders. And so at every stage of life, we are completely bought in, and it changed our lives. My wife and I went and did a week-long marriage intensive.
Yeah.
And man, I absolutely loved it. It brought things to the surface, but more than anything, it showed us the value of counseling.
Yeah.
That it's not that stigma that we had put into our minds for so long.
I think people have a misconception about the ideas, especially a lot of it is in the Christian world too, because it's like, I think we talk about this all the time. Emerge has had a reputation, when you're in trouble,
right,
that's where you go.
Right.
But everything that you were saying just now, it's like we're all broken.
Yeah.
We were born into a broken, sinful, fallen world.
Right.
No one escapes that.
Yeah.
No matter, and I've met with people before, and they're like, "Man, I had a perfect childhood." I'm like, "I bet you didn't."
Right.
Even if it didn't come with a big trauma, we all have stuff. And I think I find strength in people who recognize that I don't have the ability to do all things on my own.
Yeah.
There's a strength. Every one of the clients I've worked with over the years, I just encourage them that it must have taken a ton of strength to get here today. It's weakness when you ignore that,
right,
and you just think, well, I can just overcome that. Now, does everybody need a therapist? Probably not. But there's some type of mentor or coach or someone, a life partner or accountability partner in your life. We all need that on some level. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what we were going to talk a little bit about today. Would you like to kind of get into those 3 different aspects that we were kind of talking about?
Yeah, cool. And to push back a little bit on something you said, I do kind of feel like everyone needs a counselor. It may not be therapy.
Right.
All 3 of my sons, we have a joke in our house. I'm not going to buy you a car, but I will always pay for your counseling. That's kind of the culture in our home.
Yeah.
And my kids have grown up in a healthy family.
Sure.
With stability and everything else. Because even though you may not need trauma counseling, I really do believe everyone needs a counselor. There's different seasons that bring out different needs. In fact, something I'm really passionate about, Matt, is the 3 relationships I think everyone needs to have. The 3 partners, if you will, is I think everyone needs a counselor, a coach, and a consultant.
Yeah.
And the reality is, no matter what season you're in, you need one of those 3. So if it's a counselor, it's that person that can help make connections with why am I responding this way? Why is maybe some of this hurt or insecurity or anger bubbling up in this season of transition or this season in my relationships? You need that counselor that can help you look to the past to make sure you're healthy moving forward.
Yeah.
I believe everyone also needs a consultant, somebody that's gone before you. that can tell you what to do, what not to do, what landmines to look out for. Whether you're the mom raising kids at home, you need somebody that's been a mom that can tell you, hey, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Or if you're a business leader, especially if you're in leadership of some kind, someone that's gone before you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that third relationship I think we miss out on often is the coach. That's something I'm really passionate about in my life. I've kind of walked through those steps, but you know, sometimes that whole coaching relationship and what does that mean has been skewed in our society. A coach is someone that recognizes that God's put direction in you. Proverbs 16:9, one of my favorite verses, is in his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps.
That's good.
If you've had a counselor and you're healthy, then you find a consultant that can tell you what landmines to look out for. But ultimately, getting to that place where someone can look at you and say, you know what, God's put a plan in your heart. Let me help draw that out by asking questions that will give you that revelation of something that was already inside of you.
Yeah.
In every season, you need that. The person that, you know, leaves the coach out of the mix and says, no, I'm just going to have a consultant that'll tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Well, you're never going to grow beyond what your consultant has been.
Right.
That becomes your new cap.
Yeah.
And for that person that says, hey, let's leave out the consultant and the coach and let me just bypass that and stick with a counselor, well, then all you're doing is things stuck in the past and you're never really launching into your potential. I really think you need all three.
Yeah.
Whether you're the stay-at-home mom or the director or president of some massive organization, having all three in whatever season you're in is going to launch you into success in ways that you can never do it on your own. You need all three.
Yeah. I'm going to cut a lot of that to use as a commercial because that's like one of the best Emerge commercials I think ever. Awesome. Everybody needs a counselor. It's like that's awesome. I love that. And one of the things I find in working with people, from your perspective, where do you find that? Like, how do you find those three archetypes in your life?
Oh, that's a great question. I think you have to start with the non-negotiables.
Okay.
You know, so for me, listen, I make no bones about it. I'm a believer. I love Jesus. I believe the Holy Spirit is a gift to us to not just make it through life, but to fulfill what God's put into us. And so you start where you're non-negotiable. So for me, when I look for a counselor, I'm looking for a Christian counselor that maybe has a skill set in a specific area of need, whether it's marriage, whether it's leadership. You know, I just recently partnered up with a new counselor because I was going through a season where there were these emotional things that were coming up. I was feeling burned out, but yet I kept feeling like it was tying to my past. And I needed somebody harsh that would look through the walls I was putting up and just really tell me like it is and help me walk through it. So you look for your non-negotiables in that season of life. When it comes to a consultant, I'm not looking for that guy that is, you know, done shady practices to be successful. I'm looking for, in my world, I'm looking for the Christian business leader. Right now, coming into this new season where I'm learning to parent my kids as adults, I'm looking for dads who have done it well, who have a great relationship with their sons.
Yeah.
And so you look for those non-negotiables. And for me, when it comes to a coach, I'm looking for somebody that believes that the Holy Spirit is available as a resource to help reveal what the Father's put into me. And so my coach is actually one of those individuals. And there's so many resources. You know, I'm going to always reach out to Emerge first because that network of counselors is great. AG Coaching Coalition has a great network. I'm actually part of it. I am a coach, an executive leadership coach. I'm looking for somebody that has those commonalities in that season. Here's the problem I think we have, is we look for somebody that can do all three in every season.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
LPC, LPCC, IMFT, LISW, PhD. If you don't know what any of those are, go ahead and hit the 30-second fast forward button and enjoy the podcast. But if you know someone or happen to have those credentials, then Emerge might be your next career path. If you're seeking to join a team that provides authentic Christian counseling and utilizes advanced modalities, then apply today at emerge.org/careers and join us in the battle to help people find freedom and rest.
Matt, I've had probably at this point in my life, I'm 42 years old, about to be 43. I have had probably at this point in my life 7 different counselors because of different seasons of life.
Yep.
and I've had probably the same amount of coaches and more consultants than I could ever count.
Yeah.
You have to recognize the season you're in and what the non-negotiables are in finding that person.
I think people get comfortable, and I've seen this a lot. You get comfortable with your counselor, and you don't recognize the season when it maybe is time to change for a different perspective.
Right.
And I think the other thing, it puts the onus on you to be aware of that, and then you have to seek that out.
Yeah.
A lot of times in therapy, I'll encourage people, like, it's the people around you that are so important. Like, you will look like who you hang out with. I've always had guys who are 5, 10, 15 years down the road in my life that I go, that's what I want to look like.
Right.
And I'll surround myself with them. And it's amazing. It almost works every time.
Yeah.
But that changes. But I think a lot of times people get really comfortable and go, oh, this is my guy.
Right.
And it could be for a while. And there's guys that have been in my life for a long time, but they've come in and out, and other people have taken those spots. But I do think it's hey, you know what? It's starting here.
Yeah. Right.
We're starting the machines and everything else. But
have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, Matt, I like this about you. Can you give me some direction or advice? And you said, you know what? I'm not interested in you at all.
Right.
But yet our insecurity says, I'm not going to approach that person that could be a good consultant because they've been there. Or I'm not going to reach out to a counselor because I'm insecure. What if? I'm not going to talk to a coach because it's that what if insecurity that keeps us from pursuing. And the reality is there's never been a counselor that looked at that person and said, nah, you're too far broken. I can't help you.
Yeah.
There's never been a consultant that looks at someone and goes, I'm not interested in wasting my time. And I've reached out to some big names.
Yeah.
Said, hey, can you give me 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Can you pour into my life? I'll buy you lunch.
Yeah.
And I've never been told no.
Yeah.
So if we'll push through that insecurity, we'll find all three of those.
I think that brings up a good point, and I think insecurity is probably at the top of the list. What do you think keeps people from doing that? Because I do believe God created us to be in relationship on so many different levels, and I don't think we could navigate life without that.
That's good.
But I see people. I was in my devotional this morning. I'm in a devotion with two other guys that we text every morning. What we're reading, and a lot of it this morning was about that. When you go through the trials of life, when you get to a point where you become angry, then bitter, we isolate.
Right.
And I do feel like, I don't know how you feel about this, I do feel like there's so many aspects of our world and culture that is pushing us more into isolation, which we weren't created for that.
Right.
2020 was a real good litmus test of that.
Yeah.
We're just not created it doesn't work well. So, but with that being said, the moment you see the fall of man with Adam and Eve, what do? They isolate. They pull away from God. I mean, I can't even imagine being in the garden with God in that type of, and that was their automatic response. So it's innately inside of us.
Right.
And so I guess my point in that is going, one, how do we overcome that? And then some of the things that would help unlock that, because sometimes you just have to get uncomfortable. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said something that reminded me, in the story of Adam and Eve, they did two things. The first thing they did is they covered themselves.
That's
so
right.
They hid behind that insecurity.
Yep.
But then the second thing is it said they hid behind, some translations say a bush, some say a tree, but regardless, they hid behind something bigger than them.
Yeah.
And I think most of us get into that point where we hide behind an insecurity, and then we hide behind something bigger than us so no one notices.
Yeah.
And in reality, what we need to do is lean into what makes us uncomfortable. One of the biggest takeaways I took from my first Emerge experience in counseling was the counselor we worked with said, Jeremy, mature people articulate what their needs are.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always held on to that. Listen, if you're in a season that, hey, I need to know how to be a better mom, dad, I need to know how to, I feel like I'm struggling as a husband, a father, a leader, a business executive, a pastor. Just own it.
Yeah.
We all feel that. Just own it and lean in. Get out from behind the tree and lean into the fact that in this moment, I may need a counselor.
Yeah.
I may need a consultant, or I may need a coach.
Yeah.
Because one of those three are going to help me through this season. And sometimes it may be all three.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is you got to lean into.
What are some of the things that come into play that keep people from doing that? Obviously, shame would be one.
Insecurities. Sometimes it can simply be, I don't know where to go first. I don't know what the first step is.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think having that person you can look to, because here's the reality. If I'm in a season that I need a counselor, maybe it's not trauma.
Yeah.
I might not need trauma counseling right now. I've worked through that.
Yep.
I'm going to call Emerge and go, hey, this is what I need.
Yeah.
Do you guys have somebody there, or do you know somebody? There's a network.
Yeah.
When I need a coach, I'm always going to reach out to the Assembly of God Coaching Coalition. I'm going to say, hey, who do you guys know? Shoot out an email.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's a consultant, here's my thing on the consultant. Stop where you're at and just look around.
Yeah.
There's somebody around. God will always send a partner for you to walk into that next season. Just stop and look around.
Yeah.
They may be in your church, in your business, in your neighborhood, but there's somebody around you that you can look to every time you need that extra step. Find that person. Make it real.
What are some of the, when you identify, let's just say a consultant, what are some of the things initially, appropriately, you would take to them? Because I think developing healthy relationships are important, but diving in the deep end on, hey, my name's Matt.
Right.
But I think sometimes people struggle with that. It's like, what do I do first?
I would say always recognize that a good book can be a good consultant. I forgot the statistics, but when somebody writes a book, it's usually 5 to 7 years of their knowledge crammed into those papers.
Yeah.
You understand what they've said in that book, you've just gained 7 years of knowledge.
That's great.
That's a great starting point. Something that may be a little bit more advanced is maybe find a small group at your church or in your community. And then that next level, something I learned from Maxwell, he was a mentor of mine, he talks about lunch and learns. One of the things that I do every single year is I make a list I have about 5 to 10 questions, never more than 10, usually 7 is kind of what I shoot for. And I find people in my world that are advanced beyond where I'm at. They are living where I want to be, whether it's in leadership or family. And I will ask them to go out for lunch, coffee. I will send them the questions beforehand and say, hey, these are the questions I'm going to ask you. I want to be respectful of your time, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And I will sit down and I will ask them those 7, 8 questions. And I'm telling you what, I write down feverishly. Sometimes if it's appropriate, I'll record the conversation and go back and make notes. Those are great, launching moments. When I can have somebody walk through life with me, like you were talking about the guys you're doing Devos with, that's even better. Yeah. But sometimes just having a few nuggets to hold on to from someone that's, 10, 15 years ahead of you, that are at least in the direction you're headed, will make such a big difference. And I do those every year just to kind of give me some launching pad points. Yeah.
I encourage people, because I work with a lot of people that, work in the secular world.
Yeah.
So they're not surrounded by a lot of the type of people you were describing. But I'm like, well, go where those people are, So many times in sessions, I've worked with people and I encourage them to build their social network and stuff. And they're hanging out in bars.
Right.
And I'm like,
you're not going to find them there.
Right. And my analogy to that is Jesus hung out with the tax collectors and the prostitutes, but he surrounded himself with the 12.
Right.
It wasn't like that was his environment. It's like you can trick yourself into believing you're getting that. But outside of church, there's still a lot of ways to do that. What are some things that you've done other than just finding a church and getting connected?
Yeah. No, that's great. One of the things is some of the community business circles, your Lions Club, your Rotary Club, stuff like that. Business leaders will go to those things and network. Yeah. And that has been a great place for me, being in executive leadership, is man, this guy has taken this organization from here to here.
Yeah.
I've become great friends with some of the high-level leaders at Bass Pro Shops, one of the largest,
that's awesome,
for-profit, privately owned organizations in America. And being able to sit down with some of these guys that have become friends and saying, hey, how did you grow from here to here? What were the pitfalls? I'm not going to meet those guys all the time at church, but I'm going into that conversation with those predetermined questions, because people at that higher level, they don't want to waste their time.
Yeah.
So find out where they're at. People at that level of leadership, they're going to certain coffees, they're going to certain meetups. That group likes to hang out together. You're drawn to people that are successful in successful places.
Yeah.
They're not hanging out at the bar at 9.
Yeah.
They're hanging out in early morning at the gym. This morning, Matt, listen, I ran into a guy at the gym this morning. We had a great conversation. He's 10 years older than I am.
Yeah.
This dude is jacked, and he is so ripped. I sit down with him while we're working out. We knew each other before, and I'm like, how did you get to where you're at?
Yeah.
Why are you motivated to do what you're doing? I'm looking at this guy going, I want to be in that kind of shape when I get into my 50s.
Yeah.
And so you find them in places of success and health.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere. You just got to get out there and look for them.
I think that's a great point. I've had some of the best conversations. That same situation. I went down to the gym this morning, and it's like you see the motivated people there. You see the people who are taking care of themselves there. A lot of times when you're looking at people who are really living out their faith, they're serving somewhere.
Yeah.
Go there.
Go there.
Those are the type of places, and I think you just kind of have to start thinking that way, because I do think that's hard. I'm very fortunate, as you are. I work for a place that I get connected all the time.
Yeah.
But I know, and I'm picturing people in my mind right now that I'm kind of speaking to, that I'm thinking about, that aren't.
Right.
But they can be.
They can be.
They just have to think about it a little differently.
Right.
That's good. What are some things that like are important to you on a regular day basis? Like you said, you go to the gym today. One of the things that I really try to do on the podcast is give people things about how do we live well. What are some things that you do that's like, man, this is such a priority for me to maintain my emotional, my mental, my spiritual health. Because sometimes it seems simple, but we miss all the time. So what are some things that you practice?
Okay, in all fairness, I have sons. I have 3 boys. We're into manly things.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the example of a car motor. Anytime you've got a cylinder that's not firing, the whole motor starts shaking.
Yeah.
And so you have to determine what are your 6 to 8 cylinders that need to be firing. And that's different for everybody. For me, it is my health, physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my time with my family, my time by myself doing the things that I love, the hobbies. If I stop doing any of those things, my motor starts shaking. So for me, being in the gym every day, for me, it's spending time in the Word of God every day. It's praying. It is taking the time to be in a community with other men. It is taking care of some of my hobbies. Listen, as silly as it sounds, my goal this year is to double the amount of golf I play. We were talking about golf.
Come on.
Listen, it's a new season. My kids are moving out.
I'm writing that down and sending it to my wife right now.
Come on. I'm happier when I'm hitting a little white ball, right?
Yeah.
And I'm doing the things that I love. And if I do all of those, even in small increments, sometimes I cheat my family to do more at work. Sometimes I cheat my work to do more with my family. I'm choosing the balance. This is the key. When you make life make choices for you, it's always going to be out of balance.
Yep.
The motor's going to start shaking.
Yeah.
I schedule everything from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And it's got the things that are most important, and I don't miss it. What you don't schedule doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so I live by the schedule. My son, my 18-year-old boy, listen, this is a win as a father. I could tell you failures all day. But my son, my 18-year-old son, sent me a meeting request the other day for something he wanted to do at the house with his car, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we have arrived as a family. You're sending me a meeting request to go work on your car.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so we put intentionality on being healthy, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in the tasks that have to take place for each of those 3 tanks.
Yeah, I know we joke about golf, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, and my wife and I have a real good understanding of our own emotional, mental health, self-care, soul care, and the best days are she'll look at me and go, I can see it. We go play golf today.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I know deep down, for a lot of people, golf can be frustrating. For me, it's an emotional release.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's 9 or 18 holes, when I come back, she knows I'm coming back as a better husband and as a better father. Now, I might be gone for that period of time, but when I come back, I'm way more engaged and I'm way more connected because it's like that release. It's similar to going to the gym. It's like, you know, a 45-minute gym session. That stuff just kind of goes, and I come back and I'm like, all right, we're ready. And I think we need to care for each other that way. I encourage couples. It's like my wife's thing. She loves going to dinner with her sister and her friends. And there's times I'm like, you know what, Friday, this week go out. I'll take care of everything at home. And she comes back and it's like a rejuvenation, you know? It's like, and everybody has their own thing. I love that yours is golf because a lot of people look at me and they're like, you that's fun to you? I'm like, I love it. I do. And I don't get stressed about it. But when I was in my 20s, I probably got way too competitive. Yeah. Now I'm like, you know what? I've got a real job. I'm never going to be a professional golfer. But it is that for me.
I would say this is weird, and I don't have the proof to back this up yet. This is a new season. Something I'm actually learning from my coach right now is that having multiple hobbies, because different hobbies brings out different things.
Yeah.
Like if I'm frustrated, I need to go pick up heavy stuff or go shoot my gun at the range.
Yeah.
If I've been like in a place of management for too long and I haven't been able to flex my creative muscle, I go out to my shop, I do woodworking, and I create something.
Yeah.
If I just need to relax, I go play golf. Different hobbies flex different muscles.
Yeah, that's good.
And being self-aware enough to know which ones need to be plugged in where.
Yeah.
If I'm struggling because I haven't been creative lately, golf isn't going to fix it. You know what I mean?
That's smart. Yeah,
So being aware of what hobbies you need where has something that came from my coach.
Yeah, that's super wise. I think because I'm so obsessed with golf, if I have the time, I mean, but I also people know I live in Akron, Ohio, so my golf season is very short. So it's like you cram it in for the 5 months that you actually get it, and then in the rest of the year I probably implement a lot of those other things. That's really good. Jeremy, any other thoughts for our listeners that you would like to leave them with?
Yeah, you know, regardless of where you're at in life, start somewhere. If you're in a season you need a counselor, get it. A consultant, you should always have. Coach, make sure it's there. Start somewhere. If you can't get all 3 tools in your tool belt, just start with one. Yeah. Do something to move the ball forward because God's got more for you. His plans are bigger than you could ever ask or imagine. Don't sell it short by just existing. Yeah. Lean into what God's got for you by leaning into the people He's putting in your path. Man, it has been a real pleasure hanging with you this morning and getting to know you a little bit. I really appreciate your time and what you do, and look forward to connecting with you in the future, my friend. Absolutely, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
God bless.
You know, we often say at Emerge, it's okay to not be okay. I appreciate Jeremy's openness to share that there is strength in seeking wisdom, guidance, and leadership from others whom God has put in our lives. We were not made to make this difficult trek alone in life. You know, even Frodo had a fellowship. I hope and pray that this was inspiring for you and helpful in how important it is to lean on the expertise of others, because the healthier we get and the closer we are to how God's designed us and not how the world has shaped us, God will use you as the counselor, the coach, and the consultant. Well, until next time, or when our Savior comes, God bless. In a world where life can feel overwhelming, there's a place in the greater Northeast Ohio area where people find peace, hope, and healing. Emerge Counseling Ministries. For over 50 years, Emerge continues to be a trusted faith-based counseling center offering professional mental health care with a foundation in Christian values. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, grief, or simply feeling stuck, our licensed counselors are here to walk alongside you. And the impact speaks for itself. 97% of our clients say they would recommend Emerge to a friend. 98% say they truly felt understood and heard by their counselor. And 84% report that their issue is improving through the care with us. At Emerge, you're not just a case number, you're a whole person. and we are here to support your journey towards healing and growth. It's confidential, compassionate, Christ-centered care. Learn more or schedule an appointment today at emerge.org. That's emerge.org. Remember, you don't have to walk alone.